Hey everyone, welcome back to my Loom Deli, and today I'll be showing you how to make these salad wraps. I try to make it look as realistic as possible. It has the lettuce leaves, mayo, strip, tomato, cheese, and meat. I even gave it the how it would look under when you slice in the middle, so you have the lettuce ring. It's actually a simple thing to make. If you click on the recipe link below, which you can find in the information box right under this video, it'll take you to the recipe page. So you can check out the number of bands I used to make this creation. So check that out, come back, and let's begin. Let's start by making the filling for our salad wraps, and let's start with the lettuce leaf. We're going to need only one row from our loom, and we're going to be working on 6 pegs, but we start off with four pegs. So you get 2 bands and cross it there, cross it there, cross it there. Then you take another 2 and lay it over it. Now you have 4 bands on the outer pegs and 8 on the inner 2. Now we're going to lift the lower 4 bands up and over just on the center 2. Now we're going to extend the outer pegs with 2 more bands. Now we're going to lay double bands again, but still only from the 2nd to the 5th. Now your outer pegs have 2 bands and the inner 4 pegs have 8 bands on them. So we're going to lift the lower 4 on the inner 4 pegs. Now we're going to lay double bands, this time from the 1st peg to the 6th. So the outer 2 pegs have 4 bands and the inner 4 pegs have 8. So we're still going to only lift the lower 4 bands on the inner 4 pegs. Now we're going to lay 2 bands again. Outer pegs have 6 bands and the inner have 8, so we only lift the inner 4 pegs again. Then we do double bands again. Now every peg has 8 bands, so we lift the lower 4 bands on all 6 pegs. So we're gonna get ready to close this off. On your first peg, you separate your upper 2 bands from the lower 2. Put your hook through pick up the lower two bands and move it forward. Now you have 6 bands on the second peg. You pick up the lower two and lift that up and over. Now put your hook in and push back the upper two bands and pick up the lower two. Move it forward. On this third peg, pick up the lower two bands, bring it up and over, put your hook in, push back the upper two bands and pick up the lower two bands, move it forward. On this next peg, pick up the lower two bands and bring it up and over. Put your hook through, push back the upper two, pick up the lower two bands, bring it forward. Same here, bring the lower two bands up and over. Push back the upper two and pick up the lower two. Pick up the lower two bands on the last peg. Bring it up and over. Now we're going to tie off this end. You have to tie off your end with one band of the color of your wrap. In my case, my wrap will be mother of pearl. So I have one mother of pearl band. Bring it here. Create a slip knot. Tie that off. So this is our lettuce attachment, but this isn't, there are a few more things we have to add on. So you can use your hook or a crochet hook. And on the, you have to create an area here where you have to add on one of the wrap bands, because this is what's going to anchor it to your wrap. So pull one band through, create a slip knot, and somewhere in the middle, anywhere under. So this lettuce leaf will have these little 3 wrap attachments in the bottom. Now another thing I like to add to this leaf is a loose chain to just make it look curlier. So what you do is you take your crochet hook or your loom hook, enter one chain, single lettuce band, pull it through, take the other end, get another band, pull it through. So you have that. Then go in the next chain, take one band and pull that through. One more band alone. Then go the next, slip your hook through that chain, through the chain and through the bands on your hook till you get it there. So basically you're creating a chain where every other chain is connected to the leaf to give it like the curly edge. There, and just tie off this edge to the bottom part. So create 2 of these lettuce leaf attachments and set them aside for later. So now let me show you how to make a tomato slice attachment for your wrap. You need your regular loom in the offset configuration, and we will be using just 2 rows. So I took 2 red bands and brought from here to here. Another 2 bands, go down, four times, center row, go down, 2 bands as well, you go down 5 times, then we're going to close that off with 2 bands here. Now you're going to take a single red band and you're going to cap that off 3 times. Now you're going to need crossover bands and get single red bands and double it onto itself. There. Now you put your hook in, pick up the upper 2 bands, loop it onto itself. Now we can make our way up the first row. Put your hook through, simple chain up. And here to the second row. And then from the second row up, another simple chain up. Now you're going to tie this off with a single band, the color of your wrap. Slip knot and help it off your loom. So you have your tomato slice attachment. Let's move on to the meat portion of our filling, and you could actually choose to make your meat portion just exactly the same as the tomato slice, or you could use 3 rows like what I'm showing you now. This meat filling portion is the same layout for the cheese that I'm going to be doing for the stuffing. So you take your meat bands, I'm using 3 rows, go down 4 here, 4 on the other side, go 5 in the center, now we're gonna close that off. Take a single meat colored band, create a cap band, 3 rounds. We place crossover bands. Just take a single band and just lay them across. Now we're going to loop this up. Put your hook through your cap band. You pick up your top 2 bands and loop it onto itself. Go through, pick up the next 2, loop it onto itself. The next, then just loop up all the rows, basic chains. Take a single wrap colored band and tie that off with a slip knot. So this is your meat attachment. For the cheese attachment, you can choose to make it the same type as this or as your tomato slice. It's really up to you, just as long as you have another color in whatever shape of your choice for your stuffing. So now we have all our filling attachments. Let's put these all together. So let's start with the wrap. We're going to need a regular loom. Remove the center row, and if you could have the remaining 2 rows facing on opposite directions, I have my front row facing to the right and my back row facing to the left. We will be working on 12 pegs total, so let's mark off the end portions of our working area. So place 2 of your wrap colored bands on the first peg and the peg across it, and another on the 6th peg and the peg across it. Now we're going to lay down 2 bands and an X on the first to the second peg, and we're going to continue with double bands and Xing it out along all the 6 pegs in the front. On our loom, the front 6 pegs have 4 bands on it, while the 2 pegs on the back only have 2. Now we're going to lay double bands on top of all the 8 pegs. If you look at the 6 pegs in the front, they all have 8 bands, while the 2 pegs on the back only have 4. So we're only going to lift the lower 4 bands on these 6 pegs. All 8 pegs have 4 bands on them, and we're going to extend the 2 back pegs from here to here and here to here with 2 wrap colored bands in an X. And now we're going to lay down double bands again on the 8 pegs from here to here. We have 8 bands on the 6 pegs, and we have 8 bands only on the 2 outer pegs. So we're going to lift the lower 4 bands on these 2 outer pegs and the 6 pegs on the front. We're going to lay double bands, and we're going to lay them down from here all the way up to here. We're going to lift the lower 4 bands on these 6 pegs and on these outer 2 pegs. Just don't touch the other 2. So now there are 4 bands on all of the pegs, and we're going to extend this peg and this peg from here to here and here to here. We're going to lay double bands again from this peg all around only up to this peg. Now we're going to lift the lower 4 bands from these 2 and these 2 pegs and the 6 pegs on the other side. These 2 pegs have only 2 bands while all the other pegs have 4. So we're going to get 2 bands and exit out over those 2 pegs. And now all 12 pegs have 4 bands on them. At this point, we're going to do the same process again of laying double bands, this time all around the 12 pegs. And after we lay the bands around, we're going to lift the lower 4 bands up and over. We're going to need a total of 3 rounds. So this is round 1. If you can pause your video, finish up this round, and then do 2 more rounds after for a total of 3 rounds. Unpause when you're done, and we'll resume from there. We've finished the 3 rounds on the 12 pegs, and we're about to start to add our lettuce leaves. First, we're going to pull our wrap inside out. Just do it gently and be careful not to pull it off any of the pegs. Now we're going to place 1 lettuce leaf over here, and those 3 attachments that we placed on the bottom are going to go on these 3 pegs. 1, 2, 3. So turn your loom around and grab your hook, your crochet hook or your loom hook, and insert it on one side and pick up 1 attachment from under and just pull it up. and place it on one peg. Now on the second, do the same. Insert your hook, look, pick up that attachment, pull it through, and place it on the peg. And same for the third one. Hook through, pull that attachment through, and place it on the third peg. Repeat that for the other lettuce leaf, and this time we attach it on the other 3 pegs of the other side. Both lettuce leaves are attached, and we're going to do one round of double bands around the 12 pegs. Now after the round, we're going to lift the lower 4 bands up and over on each peg. After that round, we're going to attach the meat attachment. Same way, slip it in, and we're going to get our hook, push it through to pick up that attachment band, pull it through, and place it on one of the pegs. Adjust your lettuce. Now for the cheese, do the same. Put it in, push it down, and take your hook again and push it through to look for that attachment band and pull that through, pull it up and through. Place it on one peg. Now let's get our tomato slice, and same thing, push it through. Put your hook through and pick up that attachment and pull it up and through the wrap and place it on one peg. All our filling attachments are in place, and we're going to do double bands again around the 12 pegs. After we lay down these bands, we're going to lift all the lower bands up and over, and there should be 4 bands left on each peg, which are the 4 new bands that we're laying down now. So after finishing up this round, if you could do 3 more rounds on these 12 pegs. So pause your video, finish up this round, and do 3 more rounds after. Unpause when you're done and we'll resume from there. So we finished the 3 rounds and we're now going to attach the flap of our wrap. So you grab 2 bands, insert your hook somewhere in the middle portion on top, and pull 2 bands through. You get another 2 bands, creating a chain. Then pick another portion on your wrap somewhere here, do it to anchor down the chain. Take another 2. We're basically creating a chain of 9 pairs of bands, and you just need to anchor it down somewhere in the middle. So we create the chain from that middle top portion, and we're going to attach it to the last peg on the right. So that's the 9th chain. Then you take a single band, put it there. So after you've attached the chain for your flap, we're going to do 3 more rounds over the 12 pegs. So lay your bands again. After laying them down, we're going to lift them up and over. So pause your video, finish up 3 rounds on the 12 pegs, unpause when you're done, and we'll continue from there. So we finished our last 3 wrap rounds, and now we're going to add a round of green bands or your lettuce bands. This will give the nice lettuce ring at the bottom. You can mix the color of your bands in to give it a more realistic texture. It's a good way to make it look real and finish up. Let's say if you have a few color bands left of a certain shade and you have nothing else to do with them. Now we're going to lift the lower wrap bands up and over. Now we do one row of single wrap color bands. Now we lift the lettuce bands up and over. So let's seal this portion off. We're going to start sealing it off from here, but first place your hook across, put your hook through and pick up the lower band. And bring it up and over. Now put your hook through that first peg, push back the upper two bands, pick up just the lower band, bring it forward. Hook through, push back those upper two bands, pick up the lower band, bring it forward. Just do that all around. On the last, just put your hook through and just tie that off with a single band. Slip knot. Now help it off the loom. So this is the wrap so far, and if you can just adjust your stuffing or your filling, make it look the way you want it to look. Now in the bottom portion, make it curl in so that your green layer looks this way, your lettuce layer looks this way. This wrap basically maintains its shape, but I like my wrap to look more stuffed in the bottom, and it's also easier for my daughter to play with. So I'm going to add some stuffing. After you've filled your wrap, we're now going to seal the lower portion with more of the wrap colored bands. Get your hook, use a crochet hook or your loom hook. Just take a few of your wrap colored bands. So what you do is you go through inside Put your hook through one of the wrap colored bands inside, under the lettuce chain. Grab 2 bands, pull it through. So you have 4 bands on your hook. Then you go through the next chain inside. So there's 6 bands on your hook, and you're going to grab another 2 bands and pull that through. So you have 4 on your hook again. Then you go to the next chain. Another 2. You're just basically going to do that all around that inside rim. So this is the last chain. And you can just tie that off, attach it, and insert a single band and tie it off with a slip knot. Hide your tail. So we're now on the last step, and that's to add our mayo dressing, or just a swirl on top. Decide how you want your swirl to look, and I'm going to start mine from here, and I'm just going to create the chain over here down here. So I'm just going to insert my hook, grab 2 bands, take another 2. I'm just basically going to create the chain on top, and I'm going to anchor it down on certain portions just to keep the shape. So feel free to design how you want your mayo to look on top. No set rules for this. And if you don't want to put it on top, you don't need to. And when you're done, just seal that off. Slip knot. Adjust how you want your wrap to look. So I hope you like it. Enjoy your loom wraps.